Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today, I want to talk about surgeons and medics. Okay, so it is a beautiful day here in England today. Spring is finally here. In fact, it feels like summer today. So even though I did a video outside yesterday, I thought I had to do one outside again today, right? It's too nice not to, right? So today I wanted to talk about medics and surgeons. Let me explain that a little bit, right? So I've been a software developer for a long time. I mean, nearly 20 years now, right? And I've worked for some very large organizations as a corporate developer. I've worked for investment banks. I've worked for smaller companies. I've worked for startups. I've contracted all over the place, and I've worked with lots of different developers, right? I've worked with developers that I admire, that I have to admit, even with putting ego aside, were so much better than I am, right? And then and I learned so much from. And I've worked with other developers who maybe not so much. I've worked with egotistical developers. I've worked with developers who were just getting started, and they were just like we all do. We're all rubbish when we start off in coding and everything, right? But I've always divided developers up into two different groups, right? I've always divided, and I do this when I talk with business owners, when I talk about who should I hire and stuff like that. I talk about, you have your medics and you have your surgeons, right? So your surgeons are the ones who will do the proper job, especially for new greenfield projects. Like if you're starting something new, you want to go for the surgeon. The surgeon will sit there and come up with a perfect solution. They will sit there and they will make everything, they will very methodical, everything well thought out, everything well documented. They will take a lot longer to do the work, but they'll sit there. If something's not working the first time round, and it should, they won't stop until they figure out why that one thing's not working, right? If you're in a hurry, maybe you don't go for the surgeon, but that's what you need. That's where you have structurally sound, really good code. And as much as I like to consider myself as a surgeon, much of my career, I have been a medic, right? So the medic is the guy who, when stuff stops working for some reason, the medic's the guy who comes in and gets it working again, right? So to give you an example, a lot of times I would come into a project, like I'll get a call from a company or a different division inside the company I'm working for, and they'll say, this website or this app used to work, and for some reason everything stopped. We have no transactions going through, or something happened, and usually I'll go through and I'll look at it and I'll see that maybe a database table has changed, or a network connection is no longer there, or whatever. A lot of times what I would do is I would look through a bunch of spaghetti code, right, and I would find that one little bit that needed to change, right? That one little bit that was like a tourniquet, and I was just like, get it running. That was the whole thing. You got to go in and get it running. So I would go through and I would just apply like a little messy, nasty little if statement, and everything starts flowing again. And I would say, like as any medic would, all right, you got that working now, but you need to go see a surgeon. You need to get this bit rewritten because this is structurally unsound. You need somebody to go through and look at it more methodically. And the business owner always says, yeah, okay, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, we're definitely going to get it rewritten. And then they do nothing because the problem has gone away, right? In fact, I know some developers who they'll be brought into that kind of situation, like a medic situation, and they'll look at it and they'll say, you know what, I probably could fix it by adding that little bit there, but this thing needs to be rewritten, and if the problem goes away, they're not going to take it seriously, so they'll say, hey, that needs to be rewritten, and that's all there is to it, which may be a better strategy, but it's not always the one I did, right? So for a lot of my career, I've been very highly paid because I had a sense of urgency. I could come into something and just almost just do like a little bit to get something running, right? But I've always really admired the surgeons, the developers who they're the ones who write the books, who build the frameworks, who do all that kind of stuff. I talked about yesterday about the alpha developer. The surgeons are the alpha developer, right? And for sometimes in different projects I've been the surgeon, but a lot of the time I've been the medic, right? And the medic, everyone appreciates the medic because they get everything running, but it's the surgeon, that's where all the hard work is done. In a software project, if you got the right person there in the beginning, then you have less problems further down the road. We all know that, but you know, that's it. So a lot of the, you know, if you're hiring someone, think about who you need, right? I would say spend a little bit of extra money, get someone who's methodical and who will do things the right way the first time around. But if you don't, if you're in more of a hurry, you know, go for the medic, expect problems later on, but just, you know, hustle. I mean, it's just the way it is. There was that old adage, you know, you can have it fast or you can have it fast or you can have it cheap, but you can't have both, right? And that's always the case. So anyway, just my thoughts today. If you had to divide developers into two groups, how would you divide them? Would it be cowboys and non-cowboys? How would it be? Because I always think surgeons and medics. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.